Hi, it's Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. Now, I want to tell you about an effect, a psychological effect today that when I tell you about it, I swear you're going to know exactly what it means. And so this effect is called the yes, damn effect, right? You know what this is. It's where you said yes to something. And then when it's time for that thing to happen, you're thinking, damn, I don't want to do this thing, right? It's what happens when we have a default to saying yes, when we're not really thinking about the yes. And it also happens for a really good reason. And that reason is that humans, we're not super great at thinking about our future selves, right? And so oftentimes when somebody asks us to do something or invites us to something, or, it doesn't even have to be, an obligation of some sort. It could be an invitation. We think, oh, it's in the future. Sure, I'm happy to do it, right? If someone were to ask us if we wanted to do it today, we might have very different thoughts, but that's not the question, right? The question is, can we do it, tomorrow or 3 weeks from now or 6 months from now? And we usually say yes to these things, right? Oftentimes we may even do some due diligence. We might look at our calendar and we might say, oh yeah, that week, 6 months from now, yeah, that's open. I'm sure I'll happy to do that, right? But what happens is that we fail to realize that our calendar is going to be just as busy then as it is now, right? And so this thing, we're saying yes to something right now where we think we have all this open space in the future. But unless we're making, intentional change to really reduce what's on our calendar, then it's very likely that we're going to be in the same position, 6 months from now that we are right now. Now, sometimes this even happens with tomorrow's or next week's, right? So we want to avoid this situation where we say yes, and then we end up saying, damn, I don't want to do that thing, right? We feel resentful about it. We feel regretful. Maybe we even like kind of back out at the last minute, which is not a great look, right? So what can we do if we don't want this to be our fate? I want to share with you what I call the heck yes test, right? Or sometimes we call it some other things, but for family, for the purposes of little ears that might be around, we're going to call it the heck yes test. And so instead of just saying yes immediately to something, what I want you to try and test this out is turning that immediate yes into something that feels okay to you, but is less, less of a yes, which is, hey, can I think about this? Or let me get back to you tomorrow, or I've got to check my calendar, or let me see what I've got going on that week, or whatever it is, right? But just give yourself some space. Don't say yes immediately. Give yourself some space to breathe, to think about what your answer is, right? What your real answer is. Then I want you to think about a few questions you can ask yourself. So the first one is this a heck yes situation? And so this can mean a number of things, right? A heck yes situation can be like, yeah, sounds super fun. I definitely want to do that, right? It can also be a heck yes because it's something that's important to you, even if it doesn't sound, super fun, right? So for instance, I wake up much earlier than I want to every single day to get my kids a good breakfast and get them off to school. Right? This is a heck yes for me, even though waking up early never sounds like a heck yes, but it is a heck yes because the ultimate goal, my kids getting to school on time with food in their bellies, is more important to me than the enjoyment of that thing, right? Or it might be that it's like a heck yes because it's important to someone else. My husband is like very obsessed with this band, the Mountain Goats, and they're okay. Like in my perspective, they're fine. They're not my favorite, but he really wanted to go to their concert, and I wanted to be enthusiastic for him, so it was a heck yes, right? So it doesn't always have to be that it's a heck yes to you just because that thing sounds like the most fun thing in the world. I mean, I wish we could live our lives like that, but I haven't figured out a way, right? It might be because there's something else that's really important to you. So that's the first question. Is this a heck yes situation? Now, if it is not, then say no, right? You don't even need to go farther. If it is not, say no. Right? But if it is a heck yes situation, you've still got a couple of questions to ask yourself to take it a step further to determine whether this is something you really, really, really want to say yes to. So the next question would be, do you have time for this thing, right? Is this something that you have time for? Now, if it's tomorrow or next week, that's going to be a little bit easier for you to tell on your calendar whether you have time or not. If it's 6 months from now, you want to do a little future thinking and say, okay, 6 months from now, that's going to be the week before Thanksgiving. Am I going to want to have extra things to do the week before Thanksgiving? Or am I going to be like doing a bunch of prep that I need to do for something else? Right? Really think through at this time, whenever this time is, am I going to have time for this? Am I likely to have time for this? Right? Now, if yes, then great. Just go ahead and say yes, right? You have time for it. Say yes. Now, if you do not have time, or if you look at your schedule and you're like, it's very unlikely that I'm not going to have time for this, right? Then the third question I want you to ask for yourself is, Is there something else that you have on your calendar, that you have on your schedule, that you would be willing to trade this for, right? So are you willing to give up something else to make room for this thing? And you might think, like, really, I have to give something up to make room for this thing? But yes, every yes, right, is a no to something else, right? Every no is an opening up of availability and time for a future yes. And so, really, we do need to think, if I don't have time for this, do I want this more than I want something else, right? And is it reasonable for me to get out of that other thing? Now, if you say, you know what, yes, I really want to take this pottery class, and I don't really have time for it, but I am going to make time for it because I'm going to cancel my ukulele lessons or whatever, right? Then go ahead and say yes, right? But if you are like, you know what, it is a heck yes, but I don't have time for it. And quite honestly, I'm not willing to replace anything for this. Then it's still a no, right? Maybe it's a no that doesn't feel great in the moment right now, but it's a no that you're going to be so happy with later, right? When your future self is reaping the benefits of the no's that you said today, right? So if you want to avoid this situation where you're saying yes now and then you're saying damn later, you want to invoke the heck yes test as a way to be more conscious of the things that you're saying yes to, because every yes takes up some of our time, right? And you want to be left with room for the things that you really want to do. So if you're saying yes to everything today, and it's not all stuff you really, really want to say yes to, then you are not putting yourself in a position where you can say yes to things you really, really, really do want to do later, right? So that's what I want to leave you with, the heck yes test. Now, if you like content like this and you want to see it every week, make sure to subscribe, and that way I will be in your feeds every Monday.
Hey, video editor here. Just like she said, make sure to subscribe. As you can see, only about 25% of the people that watch our videos are actually subscribed, so it'd be a big help if you subscribe to the channel.